All right, folks, I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Mitchell Renz here for NFL Daily. Let's take a look at some more head coaching candidates here on Black Monday. We did our Cleveland Browns one after Hue Jackson was initially fired, but things have changed quite a bit. So Hue Jackson, of course, is out. Gregg Williams is the interim head coach, and he actually did okay.
He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal. I mean, he's 5-3, and Jackson was 3-36-1 in 3 years. So I just think when you look at Gregg Williams, he does definitely deserve a lot of credit, and also I think another guy who deserves a lot of credit, Baker Mayfield. They finally put the offense in his hands.
I think Baker deserves most of the credit.
I don't know if he's Rookie of the Year, but
I think he absolutely is. All right, so we'll take a look here at 10 head coaching candidates that make sense. Number 10, Urban Meyer, and this isn't even just from us. This is from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, says Meyer is going to be on the Browns' radar. He was before he retired. We'll see if Urban Meyer actually wants to come back to the NFL. But the Browns pursued Urban Meyer in the past. Urban said no. I'm sure they'll try again.
Yeah, I mean, I get the whole connection here, but I just don't like Urban Meyer. So I hope that he doesn't go to the Browns because I want to be able to root for the Browns. So I don't want Urban to go to the Browns, but again, it would make sense.
I think at some point you will see Urban Meyer return as an NFL head coach. I don't know if it's going to be this year per se. I don't think it's going to be next year even, or as a head coach, excuse me, NFL or college. But I think at some point you'll see Urban Meyer back in the coaching world.
I still have the heart to say.
He's too competitive. He's too competitive.
Yeah, but his heart's going to give out.
Fair, and the brain cyst as well is also a big red flag there. But I think at some point you're going to see Urban Meyer back at some level.
Back at some level, but I mean, would you really trust him to be your head coach? I don't know.
Not necessarily. All right, let's keep moving now with some more head coaching candidates. Number 9, Eric Bieniemy. I think Dave Tabb also fits in this category because of the Chiefs ties. Now, I don't know if John Dorsey's going to go that route. There are other guys that have moved themselves up the list as well. But the Andy Reid coaching tree does have some success, Mitchell.
A lot of success from the Andy Reid coaching tree, and Eric Bieniemy is probably my favorite name out of all these coaches on this list. And to be a good coach, sometimes you just got to have a good name, and he's definitely got one of those. But I would be very surprised, I think, if the Browns hired Bieniemy.
All right, so Bieniemy checks in there at number 9. I think, again, Dave Tabb. Again, the Browns are going to do much like the Packers, more than 10 people. So
yeah,
Dave Tabb also
as they should.
Also named
for the first time and probably my entire existence, the Browns have a legitimate selling point.
They are in their Super Bowl window now. That's what they're in.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They are. They absolutely are.
Tom.
Rookie quarterback on a cheap deal, young talent, cap space. This is the Browns' Super Bowl window.
I just don't know if you can use Brown and Super Bowl in the same. Until I see them make a playoff. To say that they're in the Super Bowl window and not even make the playoffs, that one's tough for me. And I understand the Bears did it, the Rams did it.
The Eagles. A lot of teams.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm right, baby. I'm right. All right, number 8, Matt Eberflus, the Colts defensive coordinator. He's going to get interviews, and that Colts defense, maybe they didn't have the most talent, but they maximized this year with Eberflus. He's going to get interviews this year as a young defensive coordinator candidate if you want to go the defensive mindset.
If you watched last night's game against the Titans, you would have thought the Colts might have the best defense in the NFL. Now, you could blame that a little bit on Blaine Gabbert, but some people, rumors around, Tom, don't tell anybody. Blaine Gabbert's better than Marcus Mariota.
Stop it.
No, but I think Matt did a really good job with the Colts. I mean, they started out 1-5. They ended up making the playoffs, but the Colts had one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year, and I believe finished the season top 10 in points allowed. So my hat's going off to Matt. I would like this hire.
One more defensive mind to watch out for, Brian Flores, the Patriots defensive coordinator, not in title but in reality. He calls the plays. Interviewed for the Cardinals job last year.
Yep.
Maybe they regret that decision to not go with Brian Flores. He's your next up-and-coming Pats assistant, although to be fair, it hasn't always worked out in the best route.
Again, it's the whole coaching tree thing. He's like, I played under Bill Belichick. But when you leave Bill, people realize that it's not that easy when you leave Bill Belichick. But I do like Brian Flores, and I think from what I've seen so far already on Black Monday, there's already, 4 NFL teams that have requested to interview Brian Flores.
Flores is one of them.
Flores right now is the pretty girl at the bar that everybody's trying to buy a drink for. And hopefully the Browns spot up.
All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. It's the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. And then once you sign up a deposit, DM us on Twitter @ChatSports and we'll get you guys an NFL jersey. It's the best deal out there, man.
Best deal out there. You're going to put down that $50. You get $60 for free, and then once you sign up and deposit, you're going to DM us at Chat Sports on Twitter. It's right up on screen, at Chat Sports on Twitter. And look at those NFL jerseys. You want a Patrick Mahomes? Got it. Zeke? Got it. Brady? I think his time's about done. But me, Tom, I want that Drew Brees. So whoever runs our Twitter account over at Chat Sports, give me a Drew Brees jersey.
All right. Number 6 is Gregg Williams, as Brett Scott nods his head no Aggie mention. So Williams and also OC Freddie Kitchens, who is not on our top list because I don't think he's going to get the job, they are both going to get interviews. And Williams did a great job with the Browns.
Absolutely.
But I believe that John Dorsey's mindset is this. Hue Jackson was such a negative asset, most of the credit belongs with Baker Mayfield. And if we had asked anyone out there before this interim run, should Gregg Williams get the job, every one of you would have said no.
You're right, but he's been really good coach, and the players are playing for him.
Candidate.
And they're playing for him. And now you could also make the argument they were so happy to see Hue Jackson gone and be like, all right, now that he's gone, now we can actually show them. I've been in that situation before playing for college. I don't know. Maybe they were like, all right, we're going to play for Gregg Williams. But he definitely deserves a lot of credit. I mean, they were a totally different team.
They were, and the defense improved in a big, big way this year. That's a big factor there. And they've got a lot of young talent there, although his time as the Rams DC didn't end all that well. We've also seen Gregg be a head coach in Buffalo. Granted, it was in the early 2000s, but he was 17-31.
He's also in Buffalo.
Despite Gregg claiming that he had multiple offers, which was a bold-faced lie. So Gregg Williams, I get the allure there, but I don't think you're going to see Gregg get the actual head coaching job. But he is a candidate.
If I've learned anything here at Chat Sports, and people say they have offers, it's not always true.
All right, number 5, Josh McDaniels coming up next here, the New England Patriots OC. All right, now he was apparently the coach in waiting, agreed to take the Colts job, and then bailed at the last second and ruined that bridge as well. But teams seem to be interested, and we know that Jimmy Haslam definitely likes Josh McDaniels. The question is Haslam getting input here, which is a red flag for other coaches, or is this a truly John Dorsey-led search?
I think at the end of the day,
it's a John Dorsey-led search.
I agree. I hope it's a John Dorsey-led search too, but Josh McDaniels is a sexy name. He was number 1 on our Packers list for a good reason, and it's the same argument. You have an unbelievable quarterback in Baker Mayfield, arguably Rookie of the Year. You're going to pair him with an offensive-minded coach in Josh McDaniels, but I think the last thing the Browns need is a coach that they can't 100% trust, and I don't know. As soon as you bail on an NFL team doing what Josh McDaniels did last year, it would be very hard for me as an NFL organization to be able to look at McDaniels, shake his hand, and trust him.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. What happens if that Patriots job opens back up? Does he jump ship?
So you're
try to jump ship?
Oh, absolutely. I would.
See, that's a big red flag there for Josh McDaniels. Number 4, Matt Campbell, a dark horse option for the Cleveland Browns. I like this top 4 quite a bit, by the way. He has spent most of his coaching career in the state of Ohio, and he is well regarded by the NFL and by college programs. Was in the mix for the Ohio State job before they decided now we're just going to stick with Ryan Day rather quickly. But what do you want to go back to Cleveland? Mount Union guy.
Yeah, I know he's a Mount Union guy, and if there's one team that's dominated college football, it's Mount Union. But I know that you would like this hire. I like Matt Campbell, but again, I don't know. Big 12, right? So Big 12 defense is not very good, and I think he's got a lot of success, or has some decent success in the Big 12, but I don't know if he's ready for the NFL. That's just me.
I think he might stay one more year. I think there was an extension signed by Matt Campbell, but no pay raise, just a pay raise for his assistants.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Extra year tacked on, too. That's up for Matt Campbell there, number 4. Lincoln Riley, of course, he's number 3. You can reunite Baker and Lincoln, Mitch.
I get it, and I would absolutely love the hire, but Lincoln is not going to leave Oklahoma, nor should he. I mean, why would you leave probably a top 5 college football program just in terms of job security to go to the Browns, who they've just had a numerous amount of head coaches. So Lincoln, if you're watching, which I know you are, stay in Oklahoma.
All right, number 2. This might be the route that I would go if I was in charge of the Cleveland Browns. Bruce Arians. He has said, I will come back for the Cleveland Browns job. He has been publicly campaigning to get the gig.
I love Bruce Arians.
It would be a great hire, and think about this if you're the Browns. And I saw some comments about keeping the coaching staff together. If you hire Bruce Arians, I legitimately think you would be able, potentially, to keep Gregg Williams as your DC.
Okay.
Or probably end up going higher to Todd Bowles, and keep Freddie Kitchens as your OC. And maybe groom Kitchens to be the head coach down the road once Arians retires again.
The real question is, does Baker throw the ball 700 times with Bruce Arians? And I hope so.
I think they'll still run the ball over as well, but I think Bruce Arians, Baker Mayfield, Freddie Kitchens, whoever they have as their DC, be it Gregg Williams or be it a Todd Bowles given his ties to Arians, I think it would be a fantastic hire in the end for the Cleveland Browns, Mitch.
I could not agree more. I like Bruce Arians a lot. And the other thing that I've also noticed, Bruce Arians has kind of been quiet, especially on social media. The last few weeks, he's been tweeting out a whole bunch of more stuff about NFL players. I mean, he absolutely ripped Derek Carr yesterday, but he's been tweeting out a little bit more things about the NFL.
He's campaigning for this job.
Love it. Bring
By
it
the way,
on.
John Dorsey has spoken with Bruce Arians about the job opening as well. All right, but number one here, Mike McCarthy, and it makes so much sense from just a ties perspective. McCarthy and Dorsey, they know each other well from their time in Green Bay. By the way, two of Dorsey's right-hand men in a very good front office in Cleveland, Elliott Wolf and Alonzo Highsmith, worked for over a decade with Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. The ties are there.
It makes sense. I get the ties are there. Mike McCarthy, I think, is an okay coach, right? Especially for the Browns. But
okay, so what if I told you that Sean Payton, who everyone loves and for good reason, have had all-time great quarterbacks.
Here we go.
They've won the same number of Super Bowls and have the exact same career winning percentage.
Great, but what about the last few years?
That's your argument. Exactly.
I've seen Mike McCarthy. When Mike McCarthy first came into the league, he was great, and I think teams really struggled going against his offense because
Payton also went through his downers because his defense was garbage.
I get it, but again, Mike McCarthy's offense, I think, hit its kind of, I don't know, Chip Kelly's offense lasted about 3 years. I think Mike McCarthy's lasted about 7 years. It was a lot of just playground style of football, and he just never changed, and I think the NFL caught up to him, and I think when you look at his last 28 games, I think that's the tail of the tape. I wouldn't want Mike McCarthy as my head coach.
I do want to make note here, there was a report from the Arizona Republic, strangely enough, that said the Browns were going to hire Mike McCarthy, and then the reporter gave the classic bullshit of, "Oh, that wasn't a report. I was just saying what I'd heard."
Spitball.
Which is a report, so don't put out bullshit on Twitter. How about that? By the way, a guy from the Toronto Sun says they've reached out to Mike McCarthy. So why we're getting reports from non-Cleveland areas, I have no idea, but I do think Mike McCarthy makes a lot of sense. So let us know in the comments section, who should the Browns hire as their next head coach? Mitch, you're in charge. You're John Dorsey. Who are you picking?
I'm calling up Bruce. I want me some Bruce Arians.
That would be my choice. I think, though, in the end, it'll end up being Mike McCarthy.
See, I love Bruce Arians. I would play really hard for Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians would be a fantastic hire by the Cleveland Browns. All right, to recap our top 10 candidates, Urban Meyer, Eric Bieniemy, Matt Eberflus, Brian Flores, the interim Gregg Williams, who does have a real shot to get this job, Josh McDaniels, some college coaches, Matt Campbell, Lincoln Riley, Bruce Arians, and Mike McCarthy. All, I think, logical options there for the for the Cleveland Browns, excuse me.
If you had to say one dark horse out of that entire
Matt
top
Campbell.
10. Matt Campbell's your dark horse?
Matt Campbell. By the way, now that he's been fired, Adam Gase could also be an option here. Not unless Dave Talbot, I think, also makes quite a bit of sense there for the Cleveland Browns.